Welcome. I'm glad that it's Thursday. Glad to see you all. Very happy that you're here. I think I may need to scoot things back just a bit. Let's see here. Hold on for just a second. See if that's a little better. That's a little better, huh? We have a new camera this evening, and it is up close and personal. I don't think I knew that it zoomed in this close. But anyway, I'm happy to be here. Again, welcome to Thought for Thursday. And unlike last week, I did kind of give us a teaser about what we would be talking about today. And this in particular, as many of my broadcasts and live streams are focused on, I'm talking to my risers tonight. And what I want to know is why is it that we straddle the fence so much? Why is it that we don't seem to be able to make a decision when it comes to things that should be of importance to us, when it comes to things that will better ourselves? What is it that keeps us from making the decision to go forward doing the things that we need to do for us? I just want to talk about that for a little while tonight and then offer up a few suggestions, perhaps, for how we can get past that. I'm going to wait to see. I thought I saw a question there, but I'm wrong. Sorry about that. But I want to know, chime in right in the comments section if you know why it is that we have a tendency to straddle the fence. Are any of you out there straddling the fence? I know that I have made great strides to improve things. However, I also know I'm still straddling the fence on some things. And I'll give you a few reasons as to why I think or why I know in my experience and in talking to people and just being a riser myself and living the life, okay? Why it is that we don't readily make decisions when it comes to things that we should do for ourselves. I often talk about the fact that, when we get it to this point in our lives, we've spent a lot of time taking care of other people and making sure that other things are in order and everyone else, of course, has what they need. And we are concerned about making sure that the house is right, that the children have what they need over the years, and then, of course, the job and any other thing that we are focused on, the spouse, whatever it is, we have been focused on making sure that other needs are taken care of. So much so that we get to the point where we start to kind of negate our own needs and negate the fact that we really do need to do some things for ourselves. So, why is it that we straddle the fence and we won't get on one side or the other? Because we just don't see that it's important for us to do that. We've decided that, all our lives we have been conditioned and focusing on something else. And we haven't been in the equation. So we straddle the fence and then there's sometimes when we even know we should do something different. Most of the time, we know that there are some areas that we're neglecting for ourselves. Yet and still, we decide to just kind of stay in the middle because that is where we've been all of our lives. So that is one reason. We are focused on doing for others and not focused so much on taking care of ourselves. One reason for straddling the fence. What's another reason? Fear of the unknown. Particularly again, when you have been doing something for such a long time, you have been moving the same way for such a long time, you have been prioritizing things the same way for such a long time. And, old habits are kind of hard to break. Not only that, but you feel comfortable in being able to say, well, I know what this is going to yield me if I go out there and try to do something for me, to pursue something that I feel that I may want to pursue, or to grow something that I want to grow, to launch a project, to work on bettering myself in some way, to work on some type of personal development. We don't know that it's always going to work, right? So it's so much easier to stick with what's known than it is to go and look at something that we don't necessarily know what the result is going to yield. So it's so much easier to just say, okay, I'm going to stay right here in the middle, just like that picture I put up today, where I was literally walking in the middle of the road on the line rather than going left or right, or going east or west, north or south. I was just straight in the middle between them all. And that, I thought, the picture that I put up was the perfect depiction of where many of us are. We are literally walking in the middle of the road, which is a very dangerous place to be, for starters. You have to be very cautious. You have to see things coming your way and coming from behind. The analogy of all of that really lends to the concept that I'm trying to get you to see, which is the middle of the road and straddling the fence is a dangerous place to be. It really does not help you in any way. So, what's another reason? Many of us say, we don't really have the resources to change. It may require money for us to do something, or it may require some time for us to invest. It may require that we pull away from some groups that we're involved in, some community services that we're doing, some extra time that we're putting in, at home on things that other people could be doing. It doesn't always have to be you. So we say we don't have the resources, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, So again, it's so much easier to just sit right here and not decide one way or the other to do something for ourselves. That has to change. What's another reason? We're concerned about people. Yeah, we are concerned about people. We are concerned about what people think. What are people going to think if I decide to do this for myself, whatever that may be? What are people going to think if I decide that I'm going to stop being there for everyone else and I'm going to be there for me for once, which means that I may not always be available to spearhead the book club, which means I may not always be available to organize that potluck. I may not always be available to organize the family reunion because nobody else wants to step up? So, what are people going to think if I'm not there for them? What are people going to think if I literally, basically, what you're saying is, what are people going to think if I take time for me and I'm not there for them? That, even just saying that and listening to that, that does not sound like it makes logical sense, right? That has to stop. And bottom line, we are so comfortable. We get in a comfort zone. That again kind of fits in with, where the fear of the unknown. We're comfortable where we are. And going outside of that comfort zone takes courage. It takes determination. It takes time. It may take some research for us to figure out how we get outside of that comfort zone and do the things that we want to do for ourselves. So again, we decide to just kind of stay right where we are in the middle of the road on that line. All right. We don't give ourselves priority, is the bottom line. We don't feel as though, even at this stage in our lives, when we've given a lot of other things priority, and we really, truly, if not before, deserve to give ourselves priority now, we still don't see the need for that. And that has to change. The bottom line. All of these are great examples of reasons why, or examples of reasons why we don't come off that middle line. But think about it. Even if, again, going back to the analogy, if we remain in that middle line there are a couple of things, there are many things that could help happen to us. Number one, we run the danger of being hit. We run the danger of harming ourselves when we do not make a decision to do something to better ourselves. We keep ourselves in a dangerous position, both mentally and physically, because when you don't take that time to put you first for a change, then eventually you will run down. Mentally, you will run down. Physically, you will run down. And you will not ever experience the thriving life that you desire to have because you are not doing those things that are going to enable you to thrive. Is that making sense? You're putting those things off and you're sticking with the things that you're used to doing over and over. You've even convinced yourself that you are happy giving to others and not spending any time on you. That's where you are. You're fine back in the back and not putting yourself up front. Well, that's a dangerous place to be. So think about it this way too. How if you are, facing traffic and walking towards it instead of walking in the other direction that you should be going? Same thing. Either way, how if you are remaining in the middle of the road and so being in the middle of the road constantly takes your focus off of anything but everyone else. So you're not even going to have the bandwidth to think about yourself, right? So I think all of these examples and even the analogy of why you do what you do, and how that looks, even if you literally think of walking down the middle of the road instead of getting on one side or the other, should present a great case, at least I hope I have, for you coming off of that fence and focusing on some things that you need to do for yourself. Risers, it is time to come off the fence. How do you do that if you've been on the fence and kind of taking care of everything else forever and a day? And now you've decided, I'm going to give myself some priority. How do you go about that? Start small. It could be culture shock for you to actually stop what you're doing and focus on you. For many people, that is something that is so unheard of. For years, you haven't done it. So start small. Start small afternoons on the weekends where you take some time and just dedicate to reading. Start, spending an hour once a week where you take some time to just do some self care for yourself. And then start to move towards those other things. Do some research about the personal development that you may want to do, as far as learning how to run a business, as far as learning a computer skill, as far as going out and pursuing that career or bettering yourself in a career, or preparing for retirement. Actually take the time to sit and think, what are you going to do for yourself when you retire? How are you going to cut back from doing so much in other arenas so that you can make the time to take care of you? That's something that you can do. Anything that you do is going to require you to commit. That is the second biggest piece. Start small. Do things a little at a time so that you're not totally shocked by leaving the way that you're used to maneuvering and just trying to throw yourself into something. Because even if you do that, if you go all the way over instead of taking small steps, you may very well end up back where you were. Because again, it's real easy to stay in that on that fence. It's your comfort zone, remember? The second thing that you have to do, especially as I'm talking about it being so easy to come back to that fence and to stay on that line, if you're looking at the picture that I put up today, you're going to have to make a commitment. And in making that commitment, you're going to have to possibly have somebody who's going to hold your feet to the fire. So you get yourself an accountability person who is going to ensure that they remind you of the need you have to do the things that you want to do for yourself. Okay. So get an accountability person to help you. Third thing, schedule. Schedule the time for you. Put aside that time. Let yourself or convince yourself of the fact that you are worthy of actually doing this for you. You're worthy of spending the time, of coming off the fence and getting out the middle. It's best for you mentally, it is best for you physically, and you deserve to go the dream, to thrive in the life that you desire to thrive in, and go for bettering yourself. Just because you've been spending all your years and all your days bettering everybody else, that does not mean that you need to stay there. There's plenty of opportunity. I always say this and I keep drilling it over and over. Right. Don't ever think it's too late to begin something. Don't ever think that it is too late to go and do the things that you need to do. Yes, Lynn, I see you over there. I'm glad to hear that you're learning to do this and scheduling time for yourself because that is the way that it needs to happen. Because let's face it, if we don't schedule the time, it's not happening. We're so used to getting the leftovers. Mm, how true is that? We are used to the leftovers, whatever is left after we do everything else. Well, let's stop that. Let's stop that. Let's get off that fence and decide which direction we're going to go. And whatever direction that is, it has to be in line with where you want to be and in line with what is going to help you to thrive in life and not just sit back and continue to live as you have been, kind of, as I frequently say, in that mediocre place. All right. That's it, guys. 15 minutes on Thought for Thursday. I hope I've given you something to think about. I've given you some reasons as to why you probably don't want to do for yourself. And hopefully, I've given you some thoughts for actually committing to doing some things for yourself. All right. That's it. You guys go out. Have a great Thursday. Thanks so much for listening in. Finally Me starts next Monday. I will be sure to leave a link for you to be able to enroll, and it falls right in line with what I'm talking about today. It's for the woman who has not given the time to themselves, who's finally ready to put themselves on the front burner and pursue purpose, set some goals and some objectives for how they're going to move. Look at the things that bring them joy. Look at the things that align with purpose and look at how they can move from a place that they are right now where they may be stuck to a place of movement, to a place of progression, to a place where they can go in the direction that they desire to go. All right. So that's Finally Me. It's a 6-week program. I'll put the link in the Instagram feed as well as over here on Facebook. Again, it starts on Monday. Go on over and enroll. Click on the link and let's have a talk so that we can get you going and get you finally focused on yourself. All right. That's it, guys. Good night. Thanks again for watching and have a great one.